Good evening and welcome back, everybody, to the channel. And for the first time in a long time, some more Disney Infinity, where once again we'll be under construction. It's been a minute. It's been a lot of minutes. But yes, indeed. Deciding to mess around with the toy box a little bit. You may have noticed about a week or so ago, I picked up the game Dreams, which is kind of a next generation attempt at a Disney Infinity creation suite of sorts. And I say of sorts because what I've seen of it thus far, it just isn't as good. There are people that will tell you that it is or that it's better, and there are some things about it that are better. You can, add vocals in there, and I believe you can even put some sort of video clips in and things like that. So there are some definite opportunities there to do certain things, but as far as playability is concerned, from a creation standpoint, it's pretty amazing from what I gathered. I didn't get to do a whole lot myself with it, but I mean, from a paint text tool, things like that, and you can make these things into 3D statues and things of that nature and really create some amazing worlds. But can you do in them what you can do with Disney Infinity? What I've seen? No, not even close. Now, again, I didn't put a lot of time into the game because it just did not hold my interest, and I'll have to go back and give it another go because I paid for it. But, yeah, no. Anyway, that all said, let's go. What do we want to do here? We want to go to an empty toy box, and we're going to start building. So, thanks to the coronavirus going around, which, yeah, everyone's got an opinion on that. I tell you right now, the virus is overhyped, to say the least. And I don't want to minimize anything for anyone who's ever gotten this or gotten sick with it. But I had the flu this year, and let me tell you what, that was an ass-kicking that I've never experienced before. And I get it. But the flu affects so many more people than this virus does. And I just feel like people have lost their minds for no stupid reason. It's a virus, period. And yes, it's out there, and yes, you can contract it, but we shouldn't be shutting the freaking world down over it. Okay, there. Moving on, because I'm pissed. One of the few things that is open at this point in time for entertainment purposes is the drive-in movie theater. And yeah, we actually have one that's not too far away, about an hour. And I know a lot of them have all closed down over the years, but that used to be a very common thing, drive-in movie theaters, where you kind of go in your car and chill out. But because there's no new title releases going out, they've been showing classic movies, things like Jaws and Back to the Future and a bunch of movies like that. I think they had Breakfast Club at one point in time. And this past week they had Labyrinth, so me and the girlfriend went and checked it out. And I hadn't seen Labyrinth in a very long time, but watching the movie I was like, oh yeah, we could totally make a toy box based on Labyrinth. So, going to start that out today. I don't know how far we'll get into it, but that's the goal. So let's begin, shall we? All right, first thing right off the bat I want to get is the Sky Changer. Boom. Let's get that in there, and that's going to be pretty consistent. And I'm going to be a little rusty here because I haven't done these logic controls in a bit. Don't worry about the music separately, because the odds are I probably won't get everything. So we're going to need a really dark, stormy night. I could pull out my disc, too. I'm sure I got something there. Jeez. Close. Nope. Not actually. Let's see. Well, that's actually a maybe. It's not really what I'm looking for, but it's pretty close. Wish you could go backwards. It's like it's the feeling I'll be going all the way through this again. No. Again, close, but not quite. Another close one. Ah, here we are. Perfection. So we will be keeping that. There is our background. Okay, let's see how the muscle memory is holding up. So far, so good. Thinking something. What am I looking for here? That's that one. Ooh, that's terrible. I'm gonna have to go to my discs. I was trying to keep this one really basic so far as anyone that wants to replicate. And in case you don't have the discs or something like that, you wouldn't have to worry about that. But let me get back in here real quick. Here's the thing. The color is changing based on the lighting, so I don't know that changing the disc will make a difference. And I may just stick with this then, because we're going to have the same problem no matter what. All right. Let's go to terrain blocks and start building this thing out, shall we? So because it's simply going to be the labyrinth, which in itself is not a huge deal, I want it to take up a decent amount of space, and then of course we're going to have the castle, which I may make a separate build on the castle. More for a logistics standpoint, I think, than a necessity. Let's see what this looks like. Ugh. Oopsie. Alright, so that gives us a pretty good slab to start with. Get some music going here in the background in just a second. Alright, there we go. All right, we're off. Let's see what we can do here. So again, it's going to be Labyrinth. If you haven't seen the movie, it's a classic. Jennifer Connelly, one of her earliest roles. She'd go on later on to, I believe, win an Academy Award for Beautiful Mind. Really easy on the eyes. And back in the probably late 80s, I would say, she became a big deal. She had a bunch of hit movies that came out. They weren't necessarily great movies, but they were big movies. They made money. People went to see them, and people liked her. So from that aspect, she was successful in the movie industry. Is that... Okay, so what we're basically trying to do here, if you haven't seen the movie, brief synopsis is that she is a teenage girl, and a big part of her character is into witchcraft and things of that nature. And she's got a baby brother, and she's got to babysit him one day, which of course ruins her life. And he's crying, and he won't listen, and she makes this inadvertent wish that the goblins would come and take him away, which of course that makes them do it. And then to find him and to retrieve him, she has to go through the labyrinth and end up having some sort of confrontation with David Bowie, who is the king, trying to keep the kid for himself. Kind of creepy when you think about it from that way. So, yes, there are going to be some tricks, some trades, some traps, and stuff like that. All right. I'm kind of on the fence as to whether we want to use... I think we'll mix and match. I'm debating on whether I want to use simply the blocks to make them, or if I wanted to use some of the other available pieces, such as the plants and trees and things like that. So I think we're going to mix and match when it comes to that. And again, you can make this thing as big as you want to. I'm just keeping it at a relatively modest size. Still enough to keep you going. Alright, where'd our starting pad disappear to? There you are. So from this point here, we're definitely going to have to create an entryway. And that'll kind of be that way, to make sure nobody's going where they ain't supposed to be going. There we go. Come in here, and boom, there you got that. That's all you'll see in the beginning. And then it'll pop you out here, and then we'll start making our labyrinth. Okay, so like I said, let's mix it up a little bit. And as memory serves, and that's what I'm going to be relying on for a little bit here. Because I'm hoping we have some of the plant things that I think we have. And if not, we can definitely use wood blocks and kind of change their appearance. This is plants. Is there something other than plants? Yeah, it might have been something more like that. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Now, one of the other things I will say positive about Dreams, the video game, is this is not a problem. Wherever you want to put things, go ahead and put them. And it'll collide and all that, and it'll deal with it with pretty much no problem at all. So that was definitely a pretty big deal from a creative standpoint. Because like right now, mixing and matching this is going to be a little bit more of a pain in the ass. And I'm not even sure if this is something that we can tie into a logic. We're going to find out right now before we get too deep into this. Try it again. First attempt, we got a broken one. Or maybe we didn't. Let's find out. No, we're good. I thought it gave us a broken one. Go to our properties. We're going to turn it off. Everything else should be good. And let's see if this is going to work. Nope. Cannot connect it that way. So now we would have to do all these other little tricks of the trade to make this happen. That may or may not work. Well, we're going to find out. It's been a while. So again, when it comes to Dreams, you don't have to deal with this. Alright, so what we will do here, let me see something. I build it out to here. And then all I should have to do is pull that out of the way there. And pull this out of the way here. Yeah, because then this will fit. All right. Okay. So we're going to see if this is going to work or not. It's a 50-50 at best. And we will go to our first piece of logic, which is going to be the replay tool. Our old friend. I have to admit, I've missed this in many ways. And we wave, radar, replayer. Thank you. Put you over here so you're not in the way. And we're going to start recording. And for anyone who's not familiar with what that means, we are now recording whatever things we do here, which will be this and this. And now we're going to go over here and we're going to stop recording. And if I do that, it all goes away. And if I do this, it all comes back. Now, this might be all we need to do to make these two things deal with the fact that they're otherwise colliding. And we will see that in a moment, whether it works. Which means I won't need that one. All right, let's see if that's all we need to do. And it worked. Okay. So now those collision issues are taken care of, and they collide, and they do what they're supposed to do. And you don't have to deal with that kind of extra steps with Dream. So for that, I definitely give them credit. Not only that, but you can make it as big. Like, I wouldn't have needed those side pieces because I could have made the archway much larger. I think I want to bring this. I was going to say I think I want to bring it up. If I do that, then I got to go back to the replayer all over again. Yeah, we'll leave it the way it is for now. Another thing, I may have already done it. I don't know. Did I? Is the replayer still here, or did I get rid of it? Yep, got rid of it already. Okay. All right. So again, I'm going to mix this up a little bit. There was one part early in the movie where you find out that you can actually go through the wall because the wall's really not what it seems to be. So while it seemed like it was a full wall, the reality is it was not. Let's see what this is going to look like if I do this. So if we come through here, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, you'd pretty much notice that. Let's see if that makes any difference. Well, it kind of looks like it's a dead end, but then it's not. It's not kind of sort of the way they did it in the movie. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Not sure if I want to do anything with this in particular. Just seemed like it would be an interesting little caveat. Part of the movie that really made me want to do a build is the, what is it? The Smog of Eternal Stench, which basically is a farting gas pit where if you touch this stuff at all, if it gets on you, you'll have this smell on you for the rest of your life. Let me see if it's still enough room to get through. Definitely enough room to get through. And the reason I don't do this too much anymore is because there's no way to, share this with other people. And that's the big disappointment in the server shutdown. I would be definitely going a lot more in detail in this thing. So this part will be a dead end here. And I'll probably throw some stuff back in there. I don't know what yet, but... So I'm going to want this first part to be a couple of dead ends where you'd have to figure out that... Is that overlapping? Really? All right. I'm feeling like it's still too much brightness out there, and that's another thing I wish that you could control. And I'm not sure. I've been meaning to check on Dreams to see if you can basically put a dimmer switch and just bring the overall lighting down a little bit more, which is the one thing that this game lacked that would have been probably an easy fix or an easy addition. And I think it would have made a huge difference. Alright. Of course, we're going to have all the special effects, the smoke and the smogs and all that kind of stuff. We're off and running here. So now the question is, what do we want to do from this point? Now that we've had the player progress to... Now, if we still had the text generator and all that, I mean, I would be able to put some characters in there to either help or dissuade you along the way, because there are characters in the film that, while well-meaning, also have self-preservation in mind. And maybe pretending to be your best pal in the world, but actually kind of throwing you for a loop. I'm going to just put this around the perimeter. Oopsie. Actually, let's go a little further up. Yeah, right about there. And then this next section here, I think, will be where the smog of eternal stench kicks in. And that's going to be a fun one there. We'll probably have to change the heights of the landmass or the terrain block, as it is accurately referred to, because we're going to have some stench that you don't want to get on you, and you're going to have to run across some rock formations, but they're going to be kind of dropping as soon as you step on them, so you have to make very quick moves and accurate. Okay, so let's say this is just going to be nothing in here. So if you come through this way, I want this to be pretty legit. Like, if you get lost in this thing, you're kind of screwed. So this one will lead you all the way around, and you're to pretty much a dead end. Then you'll have to find your way all the way back out. But that's kind of what the storyline does to you. Whereas if you go to your left side, and most players, it's an interesting statistic. Most players tend to go to their right in a video game if it's an open map, open world kind of thing. Whether that's because most people are right-handed or not, I don't know, but it's just the way the mind tends to work, apparently. here. I kind of like the fact that it's tight corners. It's actually giving me an idea of something else I might try to do with this game, although it's going to be tough. Let's see, we're coming through this way. And we can have something in here that kind of pops out at you or something. Alright, so if we go here, if we go to the left, it's going, or to the right, I beg your pardon. If we go to the right, that's leading you to a dead end. That's the plan anyway. And if you go to the right, that'll be a dead end too if I do that, won't it? Let me see something here. The entry point here. Okay, if I go to my left. Now I did something similar to this for the Alice in Wonderland toy box. We go to the right. What happens here? There's supposed to be a dead end if I get it right. Okay, right there, I've got to close that off, which will force the player this way, and that's or something else, but maybe not. Okay. Ooh, I'm getting dizzy. All right, fly, baby, fly. So if we go to the right, come around here, and here we just kind of want a dead end, I guess, right? That'll close that down. And then if you're going this way, you go to your left, it'll come through. Dead end that way, it'll come out here. And then this is where we can start. again to the left, comes out over here, pops you over this way. At the same time, we'll have some things that are going to look a little bit easier and maybe more desirable. That won't necessarily lead to a pleasant experience. As you all can see, the game does still work. I know a lot of people will tell you that the game doesn't work, and it does. Other than the servers, everything else works on it. So we go into the left, we'll come over here. There'll be a few options, but the one you'll actually want to take is this one here, because that'll advance you. Everything else will be a dead end. And then I'm going to go in and make some more of this. And like I said, eventually take you back here. I may end up putting the castle wall in here. I don't see a need for a second build. And maybe this part here will be the castle itself. I'll have to change some of the tile out or something. So this is just the beginning stages of it. Also want to close this off so that there's only one way to go. Although, yeah, we could still make that work. Without closing it, we can just go. Massive. There you go. You got these little ones here if you wanted to add some a little bit of texture here. Just makes it look a little nicer, I think. There we have that. Again, there'll be some smoke and fog and sound effects going on. And this is our dead end. Actually, I did actually pass that. It would suck if you got stuck at this point, and you're stuck. Because now you're really having to backtrack. Ooh, there we go. Maybe. Of course, now I have absolutely no idea where I'm at on the map. Which is the idea. Well, somehow we managed to get into the open area, which is good. And that's the idea, is that you'll do all that, and eventually you'll find your way through. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for this part of the build. Let's go ahead and save this thing. And again, the one place you can actually use text in the game is in the description box. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to go ahead and save that. So there is also a time limit on the movie where it tells you, if you don't get him before sunrise or something like that, then forever he'll be lost. And we're going to add a clock on there as well, but there's also a point where the prince or king, whatever he is, isn't too happy with your progress and decides to speed time up a little bit. And all of a sudden you lose a few hours of time that you thought you had. And that's also something that I think we can easily build into this at a certain point. So this is going to be a fun, basic build for as many terrain blocks as we're looking at, and then just a bunch of maze pieces, labyrinth pieces. And then it's going to be some basic logic situations. We'll have characters pop up to, like I said, guide you or mislead you on your way. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed part 1 of this build. I'm not sure how soon I'll get to part 2, but I'll do my best. I'm also messing with Far Cry 4 right now. And got a few other games that I really need to get back into. I'd never finished up Spider-Man, no idea why. I was enjoying the heck out of that. And a couple of other ones. I'm half thinking about God of War. I just didn't like it very much and gave up on it. But I'm thinking maybe if I can get my head straight and try it a second time around, maybe I'll like it more. All right, and then, of course, Last of Us 2 comes out in 4 weeks' time. It breaks my heart to say that I'm not even sure I'm getting it right this minute. I've pre-ordered it, and I can cancel, obviously. For those of you that don't know, the story's basically been leaked by some people. Hard to say how much is true and not true as to who these people are, whether they did or did not work for Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog and Sony are claiming they did not work for them, that they were an outside company doing work for them on the project, and then that company released the information to the public. And then the story goes that the people that did the releasing did it because they didn't get the money they were supposed to be getting paid. Who knows what the truth is? We may never find out the whole truth. Bottom line is, a lot of the story got out there, including the ending. I think I accidentally saw the ending, not the video, but the written text as to what happens. And if that is accurate, Naughty Dog is going to really be in a lot of trouble. You just cannot take characters like Joel and Ellie and go messing with them. You know, I mean, obviously they're going to be in peril, they're going to be this, going to be that. It's part of the game, but they're beloved characters. You have to treat them as such. And if what I read is accurate, then Naughty Dog did not do that. The fans will not accept it, and I think it's going to be a very, very bleak future for Naughty Dog based on if that turns out to be true. There's another school of thought where people think that the whole leak is a fraud, that it was perpetrated by Naughty Dog to throw everybody off the scent. That doesn't make sense because they're losing pre-sales. So I'm not going to believe that part. I do believe somebody feels that they didn't get paid properly. I do believe they probably didn't get paid properly because Naughty Dog has lost 70% of their creative team since the launch and release of Uncharted 4. These are the same people that were supposed to be working on Last of Us 2, and were working on it. But they all left the company saying the working conditions are just not reasonable. Naughty Dog is famous for the grind that they put their people through as they're coming up on a launch date. I would hate to... I mean, look, I get it's more than just the fans when it comes to a launch date. Sony wants it out there. Naughty Dog wants it out there. Fans, of course, want it out there, but I think the fans of Naughty Dog have proven over the years, we would rather you be honest with us and tell us you need more time, because you've always put out top-notch quality content, and we've never felt screwed. And when you do that, you earn that trust where, yeah, I wanted it back in May, and then it's not happening, and it is what it is. I think it was supposed to be February originally, right? Yeah, February, then it got pushed to May, now it's getting pushed to June. I don't care if you say Christmas, if you're going to get it right. The biggest other part of this problem, and I didn't know this till today, even though I guess it was announced a while back, I just didn't get the memo, is there is no multiplayer at all. Of course, Last of Us multiplayer is one of the greatest multiplayer shooter games ever. I'll take it over any Call of Duty or anything else for, I want to say, realism. And I mean that in the sense that you, even when you're sprinting, you're not running at unrealistic speeds. You're not doing these little rolls and things like that. It's just a very more realistic style of fighting, hiding, shooting. And it's damn near brilliant on how they put it all together. Uncharted 4, another really solid multiplayer shooter game. And now to find out this one doesn't even have one. It's like, I just don't know, man. I don't feel like there's a whole lot left here for me. But we'll see. I haven't made up my mind one way or the other yet. I do like the way the stuff looks, though, when it bleeds in together and it does collide. You get that collision effect in there. Just wish it wasn't so damn hard to make it happen and time-consuming. All right, boys and girls and children of all ages, that's going to be a wrap for this one. Again, I hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time right here, the next time we are back at Disney Infinity, and we are under construction.